There is one action you can take, just once, that will permanently change how every person in your life treats you. It is not a trick, and it is not manipulation for the insecure. It is a fundamental change in how you carry yourself through the world. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. The rulers who applied it became legends. Those who ignored it faded into history. Most men spend their entire lives wondering why they are overlooked, why they are interrupted, why their presence carries no weight. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. They rarely look inward. But you are here because you sense the truth. The problem was never them. The problem was the signal you were sending without realizing it. Today, that signal ends. What replaces it will cause people to pause before speaking to you. It will make them choose their words carefully. It will change how they treat you permanently. The illusion most people live under. There is a quiet condition affecting almost every man alive. The constant hunger for approval. Once you notice it, you will see it everywhere. Men laughing too hard at jokes they do not find funny just to be accepted. Men agreeing with opinions they secretly reject because they fear conflict. Men lowering their voices, softening their positions, adjusting themselves in countless invisible ways every day just to belong, to be liked, to avoid someone else's disapproval. This is the illusion, the belief that if you make yourself agreeable enough, pleasant enough, flexible enough, the world will reward you with respect. It will not. The world does not respect those who seek approval. It uses them, takes from them. It walks over them and forgets them easily. Machiavelli observed the courts of Italy and saw this truth repeated again and again. The men who begged for favor were discarded the moment they stopped being useful. The men who stood apart, who needed nothing from the crowd, were the ones who gained real power. From childhood, you were trained to seek validation. Obedience was rewarded. Compliance was praised. Society taught you that being liked was success. It was a lie meant to make you manageable. The moment your emotional state depends on how others see you, you give them control over your mind. You become a puppet, and everyone around you holds a string. They may not even realize it, but they pull and you move. Today, you learn to cut those strings. The Machiavellian truth about perception. Machiavelli wrote something many people misunderstand. He said that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you truly are. This is not about shallow deception. It is about recognizing the game that is always being played, whether you choose to see it or not. Every person you meet forms judgments about you within seconds. They read your posture, your eye contact, the steadiness of your voice, how you respond under pressure. They are not seeing the real you. They are seeing an image. Here is the difference between the powerful and the powerless. The powerful understand this and shape that image intentionally. The powerless let it form by accident and then wonder why life treats them poorly. You are not treated according to your intentions. You are not treated based on your inner goodness or hidden potential. You are treated according to what you project outward. This is uncomfortable, but it is real. A man who carries quiet confidence is assumed competent before he proves anything. A man who fidgets and seeks reassurance is assumed weak before he speaks. Fairness is irrelevant. The courts of Renaissance Italy understood this instinctively. Every gesture was measured. Every word was chosen carefully, not because they were false, but because they knew perception was the true currency of power. You can be highly capable and still be dismissed if your presence signals insecurity. You can be average and still command respect if your presence communicates authority. Control the projection and you control the outcome. The one shift, emotional independence. This is the change that alters everything. You must become emotionally independent from the reactions of others. Say it until it becomes instinct. Their approval does not elevate you. Their disapproval does not diminish you. Their praise does not define you. Their criticism does not reduce you. You become the stable center. Most men function like thermometers. They reflect the emotional temperature around them. A smile lifts them. A frown lowers them. Their inner state reacts constantly to forces outside their control. This is not freedom, it is dependence. The man who operates from real power is not a thermometer. He is a thermostat. He sets the tone. He does not ask permission to feel steady. His emotional state comes from within and remains stable regardless of external events. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud and insecure. What we are describing is quiet stability. It is the man who receives an insult and feels only mild curiosity about why it was given. It is the man who receives praise and accepts it without letting it inflate his ego. He knows his value because he decided it. He did not ask for agreement. When you reach this state, something subtle happens. People sense it. They may not explain it, but they feel it. You become harder to provoke, harder to influence, harder to control. And people instinctively respect what they cannot easily move. This is the foundation. Everything else is built on it. How people actually test you. You must understand this clearly. People test you constantly. Usually without planning, often without awareness, but they test you nonetheless. It is part of human nature. We continually measure one another to determine position in the invisible hierarchy. These tests appear in ordinary forms. A colleague makes a slightly disrespectful joke in front of others. That is a test. A friend cancels plans last minute with a weak excuse. That is a test. Someone interrupts you mid-sentence. That is a test. A stranger holds eye contact just a moment too long. That is a test. Every day, people send small signals to see how you respond. Your response tells them how to treat you going forward. Most men fail these tests without noticing them. They laugh off disrespect to appear easygoing. They accept poor excuses to avoid tension. They give up the conversation to keep peace. They look away first to escape discomfort. Each response sends a clear message. I can be pushed. I will not resist. That message is registered emotionally, not verbally. The other person now knows your boundaries are flexible. The Machiavellian thinker sees these tests and responds without anger. Anger is loss of control. Instead, he responds with calm resistance. A pause, a steady look, a refusal to laugh when nothing is amusing. He passes the test quietly, and the dynamic changes permanently. The power of strategic silence. Most men speak too much. They fill silence because it makes them uncomfortable. They over-explain. They justify. They rush to respond before the other person finishes speaking. This is weakness expressed through words. The powerful understand that silence is sharper than speech. When you speak less, you reveal less. When you reveal less, you are harder to read. When you are harder to read, you are harder to control. Machiavelli observed that the most dangerous figures were not the loud ones giving speeches. They were the quiet observers who said very little. Their silence created a vacuum others rushed to fill, exposing themselves in the process. Let silence work for you. When asked a question meant to put you on the defensive, pause. Let the quiet stretch. Observe their discomfort. When someone tries to provoke you, do not respond immediately. A pause, a calm look, nothing more. This communicates something powerful. You are not entitled to my emotional energy. Silence also increases the value of your words. Constant talk makes words cheap. Rare speech makes words valuable. When the quiet man finally speaks, people listen. Control the urge to fill space. Let others wonder what you are thinking. Mystery is leverage. Retraining the world around you. Here is what most men never realize. The people in your life have been trained to treat you a certain way. Not through formal lessons, but through countless small interactions over time. Every time you accepted disrespect without consequence, you reinforced that disrespect was acceptable. Every time you prioritized their needs over your own without reciprocity, you trained them that your needs were secondary. Every time you reacted emotionally to their provocations, you showed them they held power over your internal state. You built these patterns. You reinforced them consistently. And now they feel permanent in your relationships. But they are not. They can be dismantled and rebuilt. When you begin practicing emotional independence, something uncomfortable will occur. People around you will resist. They will push back against the new version of you. Not because they are cruel, but because humans resist change. They had you figured out. They knew which buttons to press. They knew what to expect. Your transformation disrupts that expectation, and this creates friction. Expect it. Some will test you harder, trying to pull you back into old patterns. They may accuse you of being cold, distant, or different. These accusations are proof that you are succeeding. Do not explain yourself. Do not justify your evolution. Do not seek their understanding or approval. That would be falling into the old trap. Simply remain consistent. This is the step most men miss. They try the new approach for a few days, then falter at the first resistance. They return to old habits, reinforcing the original pattern even more. You must outlast the resistance. Hold your frame for weeks, then months. Eventually, the people around you will have no choice but to adjust. They will recalibrate their expectations. They will begin treating you according to the new standard you have set. Some relationships will not survive this transition. Some people are in your life only because you were easy to use. When you stop being easy, they will drift away. Let them go. Their departure is not a loss. It is a filter working as it should. The relationships that remain will be stronger, built on genuine respect rather than convenience. You are not losing people. You are upgrading your social environment one held boundary at a time. The dark psychology of value perception. There is a principle in human psychology so basic that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. We assign value based on scarcity. What is rare is precious. What is abundant is often ignored. This applies to resources, opportunities, and even people. Consider how you treat what is always available. The air you breathe, water from the tap, a friend who always answers immediately. You take these things for granted not out of ingratitude, but because the brain conserves attention for what is limited. Now consider something scarce. A rare opportunity, a person difficult to reach, someone impossible to predict. Your attention sharpens. Your effort increases. Your respect deepens naturally. This is human nature. The dark psychologists of history understood how to exploit it. When you are always available, you signal low value. When you respond instantly to every message, you show that your time has no competing demands. When you accept every invitation, you signal that your life has no options. When you reveal everything about yourself immediately, you leave nothing to discover. Mystery dies, and with it, interest fades. The Machiavellian approach is to become strategically scarce without being artificially absent. You are not playing games. You are building a life so full of purpose that you cannot be at everyone's beck and call. You are cultivating depth that cannot be fully accessed in one conversation. You are developing layers that reveal themselves slowly over time. When people sense that interacting with you requires effort, they automatically assign you more value. When they sense your attention is selective, they treasure it. When they sense you have options, they work harder to remain one of them. This is not coldness. It is clarity. It signals that your time and energy are finite resources that must be earned, not assumed. Becoming untouchable. Imagine the man you are becoming. He enters a room, and something shifts in the atmosphere. There is no announcement, no arrogance, but people notice. They feel a gravitational weight they cannot name. He does not seek attention, yet attention finds him. He does not speak first, yet when he speaks, the room quiets. This is not shallow charisma. This is presence forged through complete internal security. He has nothing to prove because he has already proven everything to the only judge that matters, himself. This man is untouchable, not because he has built walls so high nothing can reach him, but because he has built a foundation so deep nothing can shake him. Insults land like pebbles thrown at a mountain. He observes them, perhaps with mild curiosity, but they do not penetrate. Praise washes over him without inflating him. His sense of self is independent of external validation. He cannot be baited. Someone raises their voice at him, and he becomes quieter. Someone provokes him, and he becomes more still. Someone tries to manipulate him through guilt or shame, and he sees the attempt clearly, like watching a child pick a lock with a stick. He does not mock or belittle. He simply does not comply. This drives manipulators insane because their usual tools no longer work. Strategies that control everyone else shatter against him. Over time, people begin to treat him differently without even deciding to. They choose their words carefully around him. They respect his time without being asked. They seek his approval while knowing it will not come easily. They speak of him when he is not present with a tone reserved for those who command genuine respect. This is not fear, though fear may play a small role. This is recognition. The primitive instincts in everyone he encounters recognize a man who has mastered himself. And mastery of this kind is rare. Most people are chaos walking. Reactive, emotional, predictable, easy to push and pull. The man who has achieved internal order stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. He becomes a reference point, a standard. Others measure themselves against him and adjust their behavior quietly in his presence. You are not far from this. Every principle you have absorbed tonight is a brick in this foundation. Every test you pass from this moment forward strengthens your solidity. Every silence you hold reinforces your frame. The untouchable man is not born. He is built, decision by decision, day by day. You are under construction. Keep building. The final command. You have sat through this journey for a reason. Something inside you recognized the truth in these words. Something inside has been waiting for permission to become the man you were always capable of being. This is that permission. But permission is meaningless without action. Knowledge without execution is just entertainment. You will forget most of what you heard within 48 hours unless you do something differently starting now. Here is your command, not a suggestion, not a gentle recommendation. Tomorrow you will face a moment where the old version of you would seek approval. You will feel the pull, the familiar urge to explain yourself, soften your stance, laugh at something unfunny, agree with something you do not believe, look away first, or fill silence with nervous words. When that moment arrives, you will do nothing. You will hold your ground. You will let the silence breathe. You will keep your gaze steady. You will feel the discomfort and you will not flinch. That single moment is your initiation, not the listening, the watching, the planning. One moment of practiced emotional independence will teach you more than 100 hours of theory. Your nervous system will learn what your mind already knows. From that one moment, you will build another, then another, until the man I describe becomes indistinguishable from the man you see in the mirror. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about stripping away everything layered onto you by a world that benefits from your weakness. The approval-seeking was installed. The conflict avoidance was trained. Emotional reactivity was programmed. None of it was originally yours. You are returning to something primal, something ancient, something Machiavelli saw in the princes who built empires and commanded legacies. The cold clarity of a man who knows his own value and refuses to negotiate it downward for anyone. The world will not celebrate this transformation. Expect resistance, confusion, even resentment from some. That resentment is the price of freedom. Pay it gladly. For every person who falls away, 10 more will be drawn to your gravity. Quality will replace quantity. Respect will replace tolerance. And you will finally understand what it means to move through life as a man who cannot be shaken. I have given you the blueprint. I have given you the principles. I have shown you the path that separates the powerful from the forgotten. What you do with it is entirely your choice. But know this, the man you are tonight is not the man you must be tomorrow. Change is available now, not next week, not when conditions improve, not when you feel ready. If this message reached something inside you, declare it. Drop a comment below with these words. I am the unmoved center. That phrase is your anchor. Every time you feel old patterns pulling you back, remember it. Let it remind you who